Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chaotic Little Book Corner. My name's Acacia. Today is the February Part 2 wrap-up. Let us dive right in. I'm very excited to do so. One of the books that I finished in the second part of February was this, Whatever Happened to Interracial Love by Kathleen Collins. I finished this while I was on vacation and traveling. It was one of the books that I brought with me and I finished on the first flight. This was really, really good. I enjoyed it immensely. I can't say it's one of my all-time favorite short story collections, but I can say that it is one of the most important ones that I read. It talks a lot about racism and sexism and all of those deeper, kind of harder topics to discuss in a really well-educated and well-equipped way. I really, really enjoyed it. My favorite story in it was The Uncle, which is I want to say second or third story. And then there was also the story Only Once that really, really gut-wrenched me as well. So I very much enjoyed this. I highly recommend it, and I think it was a fun, fantastic, and very crucial read. Next, we have this. This was in the Moth Box for the month of, I want to say January, February. This is Amy Epps' Sufficient Grace, and I loved this book. It takes place in Wisconsin in a almost cult-like religious group's home. The only thing that doesn't make them sufficiently cult-like is that they do allow their children to go to a school that mixes them with other types of people. However, they really would rather have their own separate schooling. It's very clear. This follows two young girls, Ruth and her cousin Naomi, through their life and through their experiences in this society where religion is their compass. It is the way that they are raised. It is the ways that they're expected to function. And it is really beautifully done. I adored this book. I think it was fabulous. The one thing about it that I would warn you guys about is that there are some really gruesome and graphic parts in this, talking about animals and hunting. So anyone who is vegan or has a short stomach for animal cruelty, this could be a trigger on that. As far as other parts of that, there are definitely some violent acts and things of that nature, but I definitely think that it is worth a read. It is wonderful, and I really thought it was beautifully written. Then I read, excuse me, I did a buddy read with Sophie and chboskyy, and I will link both of their channels down below. And this is Fates and Furies. We have not had a chance yet to dive into this in terms of our thoughts. I think we're all three very, 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 very busy. And that's fine. I know that we'll eventually get there. I enjoyed Lauren Groff's writing. I enjoyed the premise, which is to follow a husband and a wife separately and their marriage and their experiences and their lives. I found the wife's narration far more interesting and less privileged. I found that I struggled a little bit to maintain connection to the characters, but I would say that I appreciate Lauren Groff's writing and plan to pick up more of her work. This is really, really hyped and very highly praised. I can't agree with all of the praise and love, but I can understand where it comes from. It is a really interesting depiction of a romance and a relationship and how those can either go really well or really poorly. I definitely agree that it is an interesting depiction of a romantic love. Next, this one has sat with me and changed since it sat with me. So I finished this right before I left on my trip. And this is Little Deaths by Emma Flint. I believe this just got nominated for the Bailey's Prize, and I can see why now that I've sat with it a little bit. When I first finished it, I thought it was simple. I thought it was pretty average. I thought it was just another psychological thriller sort of claiming to be another Gone Girl or Girl on a Train. It is not that. It is not that at all. I'm really sorry. I'm sick, so you could hear the stuffiness, and I'm very, very sorry about that. it it's not that. It made me feel that way the first time I closed it. But as I've sat with it a little bit more, I've realized it's far more about the relationship between a woman and her children. It's about a woman's expectations in society. It's about being single in society and what that implies we are supposed to behave as, and how people treat us, and how people expect us to behave. It discusses so many ranges of women's rights and women's existence that I was very, very impressed. I would say that I don't know if it deserves to win the Bailey Prize, but I'm curious to see if it gets shortlisted, because I can see that it has some very, very deep and meaningful roots that really get passed over on first read. I do plan to reread this, and I will definitely be keeping it on my shelf. Now, Valentine's Day, I was feeling very low and nostalgic, and I was like, I want to reread something, but nothing was really jumping out at me, so I decided to read a new book that is a twist on an old favorite, and that was Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which is a retelling of the Red Queen in Alice in Wonderland, so the Queen of Hearts. And it's her story before she becomes the Queen of Hearts. She wants to be a baker. It was cute. It was very fun. I didn't like the Lunar Chronicles, which is the woman who wrote this. She wrote the Lunar Chronicles. I didn't like those. This one I enjoyed a little more, and I think it was really fun, and I think it was really easy, and it did exactly what I wanted, which was just a light-hearted, easy, fun read. But do I think it's a groundbreaking piece of art? No. Do I think it's something that everybody needs to rush out and read? No. Do I think it's just something easy? Yeah. Like, it's just easy. It's nothing to write home about, but it was fun. And I enjoyed it. It was a solid, solid book, but it wasn't fabulous. So yes, that is my February Part 2 wrap-up. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!